Mushroom and Swiss burger sausage. Let's see how we made it. Okay, for this mushroom and Swiss burger sausage, I've got a chuck roast here and a couple of pieces of some fatty pork belly. Make sure I get enough fat in there. The chuck roast was fairly lean. It's got some decent intermuscular fat, but I just want to make sure we're up there, so I'm adding some pork belly in as well. We'll get this chopped up into pieces small enough to go through our grinder. The smaller the better with this for my grinder. I have a cheap grinder, so the smaller it is going through, the less work it has to do for, the less work for the motor on that grinder. Whatever grinder you have, cut your meat up appropriately. But when you cut it up smaller, it firms up in the freezer quicker, which gives you a cleaner grind. So we'll get this chopped up and move on to the next step. Okay, now that we got the meat diced up, we're going to get this cheese diced up into small cubes, small enough to fit through the horn of the stuffer. All right, now we're going to chop up an onion and some mushrooms and get those sauteed off. The mushrooms, I'm just going to kind of chop them up a little bit. They'll shrink up when they get sauteed, so I'm not going to worry about getting them too small. Same with the onions. I'm doing 10% of the weight of the meat in onions and mushrooms. So I'm going to try to get this about 50-50. Because I want equal parts onions and mushrooms in this sausage. Let's get these sauteed off. A little salt on them. I got a little unsalted butter in the pan. Got it over medium heat. Got this new burner. I'm trying it out. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, I'm just going through here and any pieces that are still looking pretty big, just taking my spatula, giving them a little chop. Once these are done, I'll take them off and they'll go into the freezer. They'll cool down for a while, go into the freezer as well while I grind the meat for the sausage. Let's get this meat ground up. Okay. Always preload your hopper before you start your grinder. Give it a mix to get the fat and the meat mixed together. And this will go back in the freezer while we get our spices mixed up. We're going to do a 3% binder, which for this one I'm using breadcrumbs because I kind of want to replicate the bun in the mushroom and Swiss burger. We're going to do 1.5% salt. I usually do 2%, but because I put a little salt in the mushrooms and onions, and there's salt in the cheese, I didn't want to go too high. We're gonna do 1/2 of 1% of black pepper and 1/4 of 1% of red chili flakes. I don't want to do too much in this one because I really want the flavor of the meat, the mushrooms, and the Swiss to be up front. So let's get it going. Okay, that's it for the spices on this one. Let's get ready to mix. We're going to get this mixed up. I got about 10% water here. Beef sausages tend to be drier, so I know I'm going to use it. When I do pork sausage, I always wait a little while. But with beef sausage, I always add 10% water. So let's get this going. Okay, now you can see we're just starting to tack together. So we'll get our spices in here. Get that mixing up before we add in the rest of the ingredients. All right, so we've got a large mass in here. Everything looks to be sticking together. Not quite. See, it should stick to the bottom of my hand when I hold it upside down, and that is falling off. It looks well bound, but we're going to give it a little more time, let it mix a little longer. Okay, give it another shot. Okay, that already feels better. We'll just hang there all day. Let's get it stuffed. Actually, let's not get ahead of ourselves. And let's get the rest of the ingredients put in. We'll start in with the mushrooms and onions. Get those mixing in. Okay, and then once those are looking fairly well incorporated, we'll go in with our cheese. And just mix that for 30 seconds or so, get it incorporated, and then we'll get it stuffed. And now that everything's mixed, well incorporated, we'll get it into the stuffer and get it into some casings. Okay, I got these hog casings here. It's been soaking in some water overnight with a little bit of baking soda in there. It just helps to make everything slip and slide real easy and makes any knots that form easier to get untangled. So man, I tell you, this stuffer that I have here is not as easy as that other one, but that other one doesn't want to stick to this table, and there's no good way to clamp it down. So I might end up having to go back to the other table for stuffing. So, but I got through it. So yeah, let's move on to the next step. This is linking them up. 2 hands. Make a dent. Make a dent. 3 twists. Come over here. Make a dent. Make a dent. Twist. Just every other one. Just twist it up. And now that I'm down to the last one, I'm going to squeeze out as much of that air as I can. Give it a couple of twists. And then tie it off. I'm going to snip the ends off. And then go through here and poke out all of these air pockets. And give the sausage just an overall prick, which helps the casing bind to the meat and gives room for any fat or water that leaches out, somewhere to go, so it doesn't get trapped between the casing and the sausage. And there we go. These will sit on here to air dry for an hour or so, and then they will go, they'll get vacuum sealed and frozen, the ones that I'm not going to eat, and I'll see you back here for the cooking and the tasting. It's done. Let's give it a shot. You can see the mushroom and the Swiss, the onion. It got a decent bind. It's not super tight. I think it's because I used the breadcrumbs. But it doesn't look too bad. So let's give it a taste. It tastes just like a mushroom and Swiss burger. It's incredible how close that is to a Hardee's mushroom and Swiss burger. And that's exactly what I was going for. Like I say, I think I would still use the breadcrumbs, but I do like 1.5% of the breadcrumbs and 1.5% of milk powder or potato starch. But other than that, it's perfectly seasoned. The salt levels were dead on. The cheese did not fat out too much. I had a couple little spots where it came through the casing, but I think that's where I had poked the holes in there, and that's why the holes get poked in there, so that doesn't get trapped between the casing and the sausage. So I hope you enjoyed this new style of video, and I hope you give this recipe a try. Give the video a like if you did. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. If you have, thank you very much. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.